Namaste. You may wish to connect into your heart and place your hands on your heart. Numero uno, number one for today's energy. Global Day of Love. Five, the number of change, the energies of the month. Expect a month of change. Venus is going Mercury retrograde, depending where you are, on the 13th or 14th. A time to look inwards and start nurturing and loving yourself. Been called by my younger little dudes to do this. Been having a hard couple of days of clearing, and they want to share. And I didn't know it was World Love Day today, but they've been nagging me all week to read this book out loud online to the meditation groups we're in, but it's not something that's appropriate in those groups. And I've not done this for a while because I'm getting more present and aware, and I find it uncomfortable, but I need to learn to be more comfortable. And I'm understanding how my subconscious makes up different narratives of why not to do something and why justify not doing something. So I'm giving them what they want, so they'll be happy. We've got our meditations going in our ears, so it keeps them calm, so hopefully they won't butt in too much. Because when we read, we're getting so aligned with all our bodies, our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, sexual body, heart body. Time to do the perfect fifth, me think. Frequency has been passed through to you. Whenever you feel tension, emotions, anything that's not comfortable for you in that present moment, buzz it away. The perfect fifth does for you what it can take 30 minutes of meditation for some to do. Just doing it 3 times. And each ear will lower your awakened, present conscious state of beta wavelength in your brain down to a deeper healing one, theta being one of the deepest. It goes beta, alpha, I think, and I'm not, she doesn't do it how the science does it. And I'm not going into that side of it now, because we're getting into our heart. And these frequencies are passed through the virtual web to you. You just connect into your heart, connect into your central nervous system. Just going to bring a bit of earth in with them as well, actually. So we've got the earth frequency now to ground us into the earth. I've been outside doing our little barefoot earth dance with our root chakra and heart chakra tuning forks to get ourselves all balanced and connected in with the earth. So this will help you get connected in with the earth even if you can't go outside. You can visualize any part of you. You might need grounding, so you might want to visualize your red electromagnetic field going down through your body, through your nervous system, through the concrete of the floor, the carpet, down into Mother Earth's core. You might need your mental mind body grounding, so therefore you might want to do purple or blue or indigo. Or you might need your heart. You might want to visualize green, just going down through your nervous system, all passing through your body, through the carpet, the floor, whatever you're sitting on, standing on, right down to Mother Earth's core. And she'll hold on tight to those threads, the unseen energy that you cannot see, but it's there. Microwaves work, you know about them. Radio waves work, you know about them. So these are there too. So those invisible threads are holding you down, and then feel the energy of Mother Earth and the grounding of Mother Earth coming up to hold you strong. Going into the Earth Star, into your body. Oh, that feels good. Grounding yourself in your body. Clearing whatever needs to be cleared. You may be farting, burping, snorting. Just allow yourself to breathe. Everything in your body is tubular. Veins, arteries, the nervous system inside your bones. So think of yourself as a tubular body. And that's just made me think of the, is it an organ that's got the big windpipes? It breathes the air in to make the sound. Mother Earth is waking up, and she's facilitating us to wake up. Teach us how to breathe again. Oh. Shaking is the oldest and newest form of healing therapy. Toddlers that can't express how they feel through language of words, they shake and throw tantrums and scream and shout. They make sound and movement. Shake it all about, move it out. We've got the blood tuning fork here, the lungs and the brain. To balance them out. Balance out the heart, the brain, the body, the mind. We want mind, body, heart connection. Just going to do that around my lower back because I've got the protruding discs down there and there's pain. Deep breath in. If you've got your tongue and you curl your tongue, that's the feminine energies, the yin, if you're needing some more of that. I'm not sure what the masculine is, probably our normal one. Inward sounding, sorry about the, that bit better. We're not really doing this for practicality, we're doing this because it's been called to do it in the moment. It's what we do to self-heal. We've got the Sun and Venus. Today's energy is the zodiac Leo, which rules the heart and the upper back. And Sun is its planetary ruler. It's the I am phrase. And we can't compassionately and truly and forgivingly love anyone else until we first learn to do the same to ourselves. Boy, are we finding this journey challenging. And we know that others don't find it the easiest either. And if we're to simply split ourselves into 3 teams, into 3 thirds, there is 1/3 of us that want to nurture ourselves. There's 1/3 that want to look after, that we're teaching to nurture, and they're doing very well. But quite frankly, there is the other third that doesn't give a fuck. And my awareness has realised that those third gain respect of themselves, loving themselves. I don't know the right words. From the therapist within us, from helping other people. But we couldn't help or facilitate healing for others anymore because we were getting too broken in our body from taking on all the energy from the people that we were facilitating healing, because our central nervous system channel, the Sssshhhhh, wasn't working. I don't think it has ever worked in this lifetime with this physical body, because my EDS has been there since the baby. And all the phrases of being trouble in my mum's stomach, not being able to eat properly, emptying a room with my moods. I know now that that's just a child that was in pain, that didn't know how to express that pain. And that's the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome that we're curing. Thank you, Sun. Thank you, Venus. The autism, the beautiful, different way of thinking in the brain, multidimensional, makes us understand the numbers and the patterns. And finally, acceptance for the dissociative identity disorder, new terminology for multiple personality disorder, which, believe me, isn't just in the mind. It's not just in the mind at all. It connects into the body. Everything is interconnected. Just trying to figure out how to get this to go up onto the big, so I didn't have any other distractions, but I can't actually figure it out. So I suppose I'm just going to have to leave it like it is. Read the chapter about the game, the codes, and the master number. Like the fact you did that, it did make you feel good, didn't it? So now we're on to the mastery of love. It's got a description down in the bottom there in the information. I'll read the inner layer of the core. Not the core, the inner layer of that thing. We're getting young now, words are going, and we do this because it's mouth yoga helps us learn to talk properly out loud, because the autism does power. We learnt that from young age. Just not good at this type talking, but got a head injury on head, back left brain conscious part, past and future, enable one to function in reality. We need to connect the dots in the brain, and we need to connect the networks and the dots in the brain to the body. Because when we're adult and when our mind works, we have to keep our body still. That's the freeze or the fight flight. It's why the brain's separated off into all the personalities, but why the body becomes rigid. And when the younger ones come out is when the body moves. But the brain gets younger. So it's our younger alters that come out in the brain. And we have to balance out the connection between the body and the brain, and the movement, and the connectedness of the words, and the ages. And we've just passed through 4. A lot of our trauma happened at 4. Our mum committed suicide at that age and other stuff. To balance out the ages between the mind, the brain, and the body. And what connects that? The breath. In the Toltec tradition, 3 fundamental masteries guide us to our true nature, which is happiness, freedom, and love. The first is the mastery of awareness. This mastery teaches us to be aware of what we really are. It is the first step towards freedom, because we cannot be free if we don't know what we are, or what kind of freedom we are looking for. We've been looking for freedom from pain and suffering, and we're getting there. We're doing it. We're so smart. Shh. Shh. Shh is the sound of the liver. Shh. Liver holds anger and forgiveness. Shh. The Toltec said, "Let us see ourselves with truth." And they created a mastery just for awareness. Shh. Shh. Change the patterning. Shh. The second is the mastery of transformation, which teaches us how to begin. The secondary is the mastery of transformation, which teaches us how to become spiritual warriors and stalk our actions and reactions so we can break free of the knowledge that enslaves us. This mastery shows us how to change the dream of our life by changing our agreements and beliefs. We've just realised it's 582 hertz or 528 hertz playing in the background. It does something, but hey ho. The mastery of love is the result of the first two masteries. From the Toltec perspective, everything is made of love. Love is life itself. When we master love, we align with the spirit of life passing through us. We are no longer the body, or the mind, or the soul. We are love. Then every action we take is an expression of love, and love in action can only produce happiness. The reprogramming of the mind, of the subconscious body, the right hemisphere, the 95% of us. When we master awareness, transformation, and love, we reclaim our divinity and become one with God, or whatever you want to use for that word. This is the goal of the Toltec, and the Toltec consider themselves as just artists, artists of creation. And when we create from our heart, passion, when our passion is ignited, art is in everything. He has dedicated his book to my parents, my children, my siblings, and the rest of my family, with whom I am bonded not only by love, but by our blood and ancestral roots. To my spiritual family, with whom I am bonded by our decision to create a family based on unconditional love, mutual respect, and the practice of the mastery of love. And to my human family, whose minds are fertile for the seeds of love contained in this book. May these seeds of love flourish in your life. The contents we're not going to read. Acknowledgements. I wish to express my gratitude to Janet Mills, who, like a mother with her own child, gave form to this book with all her love and dedication. I would also like to thank those people who gave of their time and their love and help us with the realization of this book. Finally, I want to express my gratitude to our creator for the inspiration and beauty that gave this book life. And host body Neve, Deborah Snowflake Coleman, and our many altars would like to give gratitude to Don Miguel Ruiz for creating such a book that is teaching us so much. The Toltec. Thousands of years ago, the Toltec were known throughout southern Mexico as women and men of knowledge. Anthropologists have spoken of the Toltec as a nation or race. But, in fact, the Toltec were scientists and artists, who formed a society to explore and conserve the spiritual knowledge and practices of the ancient ones. They came together as masters, naguals, and students at Teotihuacan, the ancient city of pyramids outside Mexico City, known as the place where man becomes God. Over the millennia, the naguals were forced to conceal the ancestral wisdom and maintain its existence in obscurity. European conquest, coupled with rampant misuse of personal power by a few of the apprentices, made it necessary to shield the knowledge from those who were not prepared to use it wisely, or who might unintentionally chitoma, or who might intentionally misuse it for personal gain. Interesting. We said unintentionally, because a lot of people don't know their subconscious has the greater power, and therefore they unintentionally use the word and things they do, their actions, for misuse of personal gain without even realizing. And denial, dissociative identity disorder is the biggest of denials going. And one starts to overcome something they are not good at and not proficient at, like our processing language disorder. We've been learning language for a long time. Then they become good at recognizing that. And my alternate personalities recognize denial, recognize the subconscious in others. And so everything they've done it to protect us, because we have been learning to love ourselves, learning how to heal ourselves from the pain so that we don't kill ourselves, because suicide has been normal for us. The first contemplation or want of suicide was when I was 14. And the second was an attempt, which we are very lucky to have survived, when I was 18. So anything that any of us have said or done to anyone on this journey of healing, it's to keep ourselves alive. And it was getting too hard to keep ourselves alive, putting the others first, because we have always put others first our whole life. And I saw the pain it caused my family when I attempted it when I was 18. And that was kept a secret too, saying I had gastroenteritis. So many aspects of me and my life have been kept a secret. And Conscious I does my best to continue to keep some of it a secret to protect others that a lot of people would think don't deserve protecting. But we want to show our way of unconditional love in the moment that we know best how, and all our lives up until this moment, because of our multiple lives in one life. Me, myself, my many eyes, my many lives in one life. And we are getting closer to being able to share and word. Well, no, we're doing it constantly because we watch these back, and that connects more dots in the head. Because nothing comes from without of us. It's not about the angels. It's not about out there. If you watch any of BBC Brain documentaries by David Eagleman, it's all an illusion. It's all a projection. And the Toltec, they talk about our personal dream, but they talk about the collective dream and the dream of the planet. So we have our projected personal dream, but if everything is inside and not outside because it is a projection of us, an illusion, a projection of what we create from our mind's eye, then even the collective dream is an illusion. And at the moment we live on hell, apparently, by some people's things, with so much fear. If you are one of these people putting a protective bubble around yourself, or protective whatever field, whatever you want to call it, around yourself, then you are working from a place of fear. Because if you feel you need protection, that's coming from fear. Because I used to hate the wording of raise your vibration, love is a vibration, because my limited understanding of maths, Newtonian physics, Newtonian science, which is a spectrum on a linear plane, whereas quantum physics is the circular plane, Tesla, vortex maths, which I'm understanding, well, they're understanding so much better, and I'm starting to understand. Got to do it little by little bit, 95% into 5%, 95% of the subconscious, the right hemisphere brain, the body, the heart, which has the biggest, strongest electromagnetic field, into the small 5% of the left brain. Wow, it doesn't take it very easy, and we know that because you guys didn't understand, and you guys being society, the systems, didn't understand our way of healing. And we were healing. We were getting more connected and we were getting stronger. We'd got the medication out of our system, which flipped us, gave us the seizures in the first place, which we needed because we needed to know that we had DID. but I was doing better. But then we lost everyone because no one else understood the DID. They didn't understand our way. I didn't understand it. I couldn't accept it. I couldn't vocalize it because of my deepest belief systems, which have been programmed into us at a young age, through teachers, through society, through parents, family members. So I couldn't express it through the conscious mind either, because I didn't really believe it. I'd been made to believe I'd made stuff up. Even my hypnotherapist said I'm on Groundhog Day and I've got pseudo memory syndrome. But you see, we're deaf, blind, and dumb inside. We don't do how you people do your dreams and all that other stuff and healing. Ours happens in waking life. And we are literally dreaming our life, our consciousness, into reality. And it made us sleepwalk and sleep talk out there naked with our eyes open. And society didn't understand and they fear difference. But there were moments of awareness because I remember it. I asked some lady for her dressing gown. And if that had been me, and some naked woman that was obviously in distress asked me for my dressing gown, I would have given it to her. But I understand why this lady didn't, because she was in fear. I'm in a Cumber Home village of old people. They're a different generation. There's so much more fear. So, and I needed the psych ward experience again to create an amazing, fucking fantastic story to start off with. And when I get stronger and I'm able to manage my own body and my mind and my emotions, and not let that all come into my energetic body and cause me more pain, and I'm more comfortable being seen and heard, which is why I'm also doing this, then we're going to be sharing such a beautiful, unique story with strength in our vulnerability to show that vulnerability is not a weakness, and how the systems need to change, because I was sedated and fed more medication in the psychiatric ward and lost another 4 days. And I came round in my conscious awareness to 8 people holding me down. And I'm sorry, but that is wrong. I did not deserve that. But I've been on the other side. I have worked for a company that cares for autistic people, of which I couldn't work for too long because I would have got too much in my autism. But the medication makes us go deeper into our autism and gets us locked inside. So I've experienced the deep autism of wanting to stay locked inside because society is just too hard to deal with sometimes. And then there's the high function, and that's the internal world, the subconscious, when your eyes are closed. Or there's the external world, when your eyes are open, the high functioning autism. Or there's us that's trying to connect the two and balance the two. We'll have our eyes wide open but cannot see because we're in some dream state and the neurological pathways aren't connected. But we are connecting them now. And we've got the scientist, and we've got the artist, and we've got the mathematician. We've got a multiple of different opposing perspectives inside this one brain, inside this one body, which can cause such dissonance and chaos. But we've given you the frequencies of the human organs through the tuning forks, through the planets, the weighted ones that bring you into the body. We're not going to do any more of that. We're giving you the natural tools away from the 240 volt field, which affects us greatly as well, and the Wi-Fi. We've been sleeping in our summer house and our body just goes, ah, and can breathe when I turn all the lights off and put on the candles and just our 12 volt fairy lights. So this is us opening up more, connecting more, showing you that the whole time we have been getting stronger and more balanced. It's not the way collective society knows or understands. But I know that I am not alone in this, and there are others out, maybe not with the complex package all is one, but with parts here and there that can benefit from this. And my altar started the live reality healing show when we were in the psych ward. I've watched glimpses of them back, but I'm taking that slow because we need to take notes and do insights and things, and there's lots to be getting on with. And I'm used to doing it from the left brain structure and organisation. I'm not used to this intuition, heart, body way of doing things in the moment, but I know this is what will give maximum output, minimum effort. So no matter how uncomfortable it makes me, or how much the fearful voice in me goes no, I'm challenging that fear daily, hourly, minutely. second by second, baby steps. Because I know that using my voice and using my body and facing those fears, as I've always done massively so before in the macro, but now we're doing it in the micro to get used to our subtle body. Sssshhhh, Arret, back to reading. Change the pattern. Thank you, my beautiful sound healing tools, and my beautiful mind, and my beautiful book. I am completely so grateful to all my alternate personalities and accepting of you, loving for all you've done for me to get me so far in life. Thank you. Fortunately, the esoteric Toltec is interesting. I'm just going to read that last bit again because that's what triggered all of that, because it's been brought into my conscious awareness of my unintentional misuse for personal gain through whatever altars. But our personal gain was to keep ourselves alive. So anyone that's been hurt by us, I'm sure you'd have been hurt a lot more by your own pain or guilt if one of us had actually taken this physical body's life. So I hope this message gets out there to people, especially people like my brother, because I know he's hurting from the disconnection I've had to do with him. But I'm sure he'd hurt more if the other was the choice. So yeah, that's our awareness there from that bit of reading. So I'll continue on. Fortunately, the esoteric Toltec knowledge was embodied and passed on through generations by different lineages of Naguals, though it remained veiled in secrecy for hundreds of years. Ancient prophecies foretold the coming of an age when it would be necessary to return the wisdom to the people. Now, Don Miguel Ruiz, a Nagual from the Eagle Knight lineage, has been guided to share with us the powerful teachings of the Toltec. Toltec knowledge arises from the same essential unity of truth as all the sacred esoteric traditions found around the world. Just got to bring more oxygen in because we did lots of breathing and talking there. Yeah, this badge is the next, the no shooty. My neck is hurting no more. Toltec knowledge arises from the same essential unity of truth as all the sacred esoteric traditions found around the world. Though it is not a religion, it honors all the spiritual masters who have taught on the earth. While it does embrace spirit, it is most accurately described as a way of life, distinguished by the ready accessibility of happiness and love. It's all about retraining that reprogramming by repetition, repatterning the subconscious mind, the body. And there's numerous avenues in. Try them all. We're just mastering the breath now because it's the breath that yokes, that joins the mind with the body. A Toltec is an artist of love, an artist of the spirit, someone who is creating every moment, every second, the most beautiful art, the art of dreaming. Life is nothing but a dream. And if we are artists, then we can create our life with love, and our dream becomes a masterpiece of art. I can see where I've got my connections from now, and my awareness and my understanding to be able to word it and describe it. It's going to be so good watching this back for us to heal and grow and connect again. Introduction, the master. Sorry. It's a bit of a heart connection there.
both physical connection in the heart as well as emotional and mental. Okay.
So fascinating and interesting, so physically painful. Can manage the emotion and the mental side of it is the physical pain. Oh, but we're managing that too. We truly are. But just in case you wondered about the twitching and the spasming, that's the EDS and the subluxing, the hypermobility, the humming to buzz the pain away. It all has to just happen in the moment to make the least pain or the most balance and connected between all the bodies. Physical, sexual, emotional, empowerment for the solar plexus. Don't know what that's called. But yeah, va. Introduction, the master. Once upon a time, a master was talking to a crowd of people, and his message was so wonderful that everyone felt touched by his words of love. In the crowd, there was a man who had listened to every word the master said. This man was very humble, and he had a great heart. He was so touched by the master's words that he felt the need to invite the master to his home. When the master finished speaking, the man walked through the crowd, looked into the eyes of the master and told him, "I know you're busy and everyone wants your attention. I know you hardly have time to even listen to my words. But my heart is so open and I feel so much love for you that I have the need to invite you to my home. I want to prepare the best meal for you. I don't expect you'll accept, but I just had to let you know." The master looked in his eyes, and with the most beautiful smile, he said, "Prepare everything. I shall be there." And then the master walked away. At these words, the joy in the man's heart was strong. He could hardly wait to serve the master and to express his love for him. This would be the most important day of his life. The master was going to be with him. He bought the best food and wine and found the most beautiful clothes to offer as a gift to the master. Then he ran home to prepare everything to receive the master. He cleaned his entire house, prepared the most wonderful meal, and made the table look beautiful. His heart was full of joy because the master would soon be there. The man was waiting anxiously, when someone knocked at the door. Eagerly, he opened the door. But instead of the master, he found an old woman. She looked into his eyes. "I'm starving. Can you give me some bread?" The man was a little disappointed because it was not the master. He looked at the woman and said, "Please, come into my house." He sat her in the place he had prepared for the master and gave her the food he had made for the master. But he was anxious and could hardly wait for her to finish eating. The old woman was touched by the generosity of the man. She thanked him and left. The man had barely finished preparing the table for the master again when someone knocked at the door. This time, it was another stranger who had travelled across the desert. The stranger looked into the man's face and said, "I'm thirsty. Can you give me something to drink?" The man was a little disappointed again because it was not the master. He invited the stranger into his home, and sat him in the place he had prepared for the master. He served the wine he had intended to give the master. When the stranger left, the man again prepared everything for the master. Just turning that music down. It's gone on to the 852 now, which is Let's Go of Fear. It's very good to be doing something that's facing my fears with that on in the background, isn't it? All I like the energies and the signs that come together. Technology does speak a lot and produce a lot of synchronicities. I know they don't use manners in the book, you're very right, but that's not for now. We can do that when we do take notes on this now. Can we go back to the book and what have you? Thank you, my lovelies. Someone knocked at the door again. When the man opened the door, sorry, I was literally, goodness knows how, I was 4 or younger when I was going round naked. So this is, someone knocked at the door again. When the man opened the door, there stood a child. The child looked up at the man and said, "I am freezing. Can you give me a blanket to cover my body?" The man was a little disappointed because it was not the master, but he looked into the eyes of the child and felt love in his heart. Quickly he gathered the clothes he had intended to give the master, and he covered the child with the clothes. The child thanked him and left. "We just wanted to go home and sleep, but we couldn't find home, so we just wanted to sleep on someone's floor until we could find home." I know, my lovely, I know, and we'll let them know eventually. They'll understand eventually. The man prepared everything again for the master, and then he waited until it was very late. When he realised the master was not coming, he was disappointed, but right away he forgave the master. He said to himself, "I knew I could not expect the master to come to my humble home. Although he said he would come, something more important must have taken him elsewhere. The master did not come, but at least he told me he would. And that is enough for my heart to be happy." I know you don't understand that yet, but we will eventually, okay? I don't know when or how, but we don't need to know when or how. Slowly he put the food away. He put the wine away, and he went to bed. That night he dreamed the master came to his home. The man was happy to see him, but he didn't know that he was dreaming. "Master, you came! You kept your word." Okay, that's why we don't understand the one above, isn't it? Because we don't understand when people don't keep their word, and we used to keep our word too much, so shh, okay, for later. The man was happy to see him, but he didn't know that he was dreaming. "Master, you came. You kept your word." The master replied, "Yes, I am here. But I was here before. I was hungry, and you fulfilled my need for food. I was thirsty, and you gave me the wine. Yes, I know wine doesn't rehydrate you. Shh. I was cold, and you covered me with clothes. Whatever you do for others, you do for me." The man woke up, and his heart was filled with happiness because he understood what the master had taught him. The master loved him so much that he had sent 3 people to give him the greatest lesson. The master lives within everyone. When you give food to the one who is starving, when you give water to the one who is thirsty, when you cover the one who is cold, you give your love to the master. And if the master is within you, it means you give your love to you. Hence, one needs to love themselves first, unconditionally, respectfully, forgivingly, compassionately, gratefully. And only then can they truly unconditionally love someone else. And we are going to continue on to chapter 1 because we want to read chapter 1. We normally stop at the beginning. So you can watch this in multiple halves if you're watching this, or you can just jump through to chapter 1, whatever you want. We'll try and remember to put time thingies on it. Because we need this right now and we need to watch it back. Chapter 1. The Wounded Mind. Perhaps you have never thought about it, but on one level or another, all of us are masters. We are masters because we have the power to create and to rule our own lives. Just as societies and religions around the world create incredible mythologies, we create our own. Our personal mythology is populated by heroes and villains, angels and demons, kings and commoners. We create an entire population in our mind, including multiple personalities for ourselves. And if that happens when you're below 6, 5, 4, like us, it's programmed into your body and it's not in here. Okay? People that think that. And I know that for a fact now because I am living it and I have questioned it and disbelieved it like you. And it has taken me to this state of pain and suffering. And I am no longer doing that no more. And I am sharing my wisdom and my knowledge to whoever wants to listen. And I don't care if you believe it or not, because I know it's working because it's healing me. We create an entire population in our mind, including multiple personalities for ourselves. And then we master the image we are going to use in certain circumstances. We become artists of pretending and projecting our images, and we master whatever we believe we are. When we meet other people, we classify them right away, and again, assign them a role in our lives. We create an image for others, according to what we believe they are, from our belief systems, through our lens. And we do the same thing with everyone and everything around us. And I'm realizing how different I am to everyone and how backwards I am to everyone through all these experiences too. Because all I've ever done is what I would do for others. And then it doesn't get reciprocated because I'm so different to everyone. But that's good. We're unique. And we've got a special, unique package to show of all the positives of all our societal so-called labels. Shh. You have the power to create. Your power is so strong that whatever you believe comes true. You create yourself. Whatever you believe you are. You create yourself whatever you believe you are. You are the way you are because that is what you believe about yourself. Your whole reality, everything you believe is your creation. You have the same power as any other human in the world. The main difference between you and someone else is how you apply your power, what you create with your power. You may be similar to others in many ways, but no one in the whole world lives his life the way you do. You've practiced all of your life to be what you are, and you do it so well that you master what you believe you are. You master your own personality, your own beliefs. You master every action, every reaction. You practice for years and years, and you achieve the level of mastery to be what you believe you are. Once we can see that all of us are masters, we can see what kind of mastery we have. When we are children and we have a problem with someone, we get angry. For whatever reason, that anger pushes the problem away. we get the result we want. It happens a second time. We react with anger, and now we know if we get angry, we push the problem away. That's our last resort. I know, my lovelies, it is our very last resort. We just didn't have the language to communicate, did we, the way they understood? We did it through other ways, and they didn't understand that. And even our anger then is nowhere near as bad as other people's anger. You're very right. Well done. Then we practice and practice and practice until we can become masters of anger. In the same way, we become masters of jealousy, masters of sadness, masters of self-rejection. All of our drama and suffering is by practice. We make an agreement with ourselves and we practice that agreement until it becomes a whole mastery. The way we think, the way we feel, and the way we act becomes so routine that we no longer need to put our attention on what we are doing. It is just by action, reaction, that we behave a certain way. To become masters of love, we have to practice love. The art of relationship is also a whole mastery, and the only way to reach mastery is with practice. To master a relationship is therefore about action. It is not about concepts or attaining knowledge. It is about action. Of course, to have action, we need to have some knowledge, or at least a little more awareness of the way humans operate. Just a bit, I don't know, it might come up later, I don't know, but they want me to share. Anything that any of us says or does is always our subconscious trying to get our own attention. So if you say hateful words or do something hateful to someone else, that's only a reflection of how you truly feel about yourself and your deepest subconscious belief systems. So we're needing love and support, and we can't have it in the physical form. Or more accurately, my younger ones, my younger alternate personalities are needing love and support. And we can't have it in physical form. And there's very few people that we can get it from otherwise either, that we can feel like they can approach. So if you please wouldn't mind showing your love and support by liking this, subscribing to their channel, this channel, and by sharing it, by spreading the message of in loving ourselves and how to love ourselves and why we need to love ourselves, they would be so much grateful to you, because they call it, let's start the Gandhi quantum ripple effect. Be the change you want to see in the world. And start by loving yourself and respecting yourself, because Mother Gaia is waking up and starting to breathe. Let's not fall back into old patterns so that she can't breathe again. Because when Mother Gaia, planet Earth, wakes up, she's giving us a chance to wake up and heal ourselves. And we're showing you our ways of healing. Self-empowerment, Shinto self-empowerment. Because when we heal ourselves and respect ourselves and love ourselves unconditionally, so then can we hold the light for others and love them unconditionally too, and be compassionate and forgiving, because we've learned how to do it to ourselves. And when we learn how to do it for ourselves, that's when we raise our own vibration. And when we raise our own vibration to the highest of frequencies, the lower vibration frequencies of these wordings, these emotions, get discombobulated when they come in. And that's why that's why love is a frequency of vibration. And that's why we raise our vibration up high. And that's why we don't need to put a protective bubble around ourselves. We just put a very high vibrational frequency bubble around ourselves. And then, only then, if there is someone that really needs to learn a lesson, and maybe you don't have the words for it, or maybe the words don't do it justice, only then put a mirrored bubble around yourself, because a mirrored bubble will reflect back to them what they need to know. But they may project that onto you, and you may lose them out of your life. But I know that we had to lose all the people out of our life because we need to keep ourselves safe, because it's the alternate personalities that keep us safe. They've protected us our whole life in the way they know how. And that way hasn't been in a way that I consider appropriate or healthy to others.
but the conscious I is so small, and it doesn't hold the power, it doesn't hold the heart, the love, which gives the self-empowerment. So when you have an adult ego, it's power and greed. But our adult ego has never been an adult ego. It's always been an ego stuck at the age of 4, which is empowerment and play, but disguised by the parrot voice, the autistic copiness of the phrases and the words and the sentences that we didn't fully understand. But boy, oh, do we understand now. And we've got so much an attitude of gratitude coming on. Thanking, forking, fueling forks. Yes, that was good. We're going to like that. Thank you guys for sharing that. A lot more appropriate, I agree. I want you to imagine that you live on a planet where everyone's got a skin disease. For 2,000 or 3,000 years, the people on your planet have suffered the same skin disease. Their entire bodies are covered by wounds that are infected, and those wounds really hurt when you touch them. Of course, they believe this is a normal physiology of the skin. Even the medical books describe this disease as a normal condition. When the people are born, their skin is healthy, but around 3 or 4 years of age, the first wounds start. They start to appear, and by the time they are teenagers, there are wounds all over their bodies. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how these people are going to treat each other? In order to relate to one another, they have to protect their wounds. They hardly ever touch each other's skin because it's too painful. If by accident you touch someone's skin, it is so painful that right away she gets angry and touches your skin just to get even. Still, the instinct is to love. The instinct to love is so strong that you pay a high price to have relationships with others. Well, imagine that a miracle occurs one day. Because we're all miracles, my darlings. We're all miracles. Well, imagine that a miracle occurs one day. You awake and your skin's completely healed. There are no wounds anymore, and it doesn't hurt to be touched. Healthy skin you can touch feels wonderful because the skin is made for perception, the biggest organ of your body. Can you imagine yourself with healthy skin in a world where everyone has a skin disease? You cannot touch others because it hurts them, and no one touches you because they make the assumption that it will hurt you. If you can imagine this, perhaps you can understand that someone from another planet who came to visit us would have a similar experience with humans. But it isn't our skin that is full of wounds. What the visitor would discover is that the human mind is sick with a disease called fear. Just like the description of the infected skin, the emotional body is full of wounds, and these wounds are infected with emotional poison. The manifestation of the disease of fear is anger, hate, sadness, envy, and hypocrisy. And I want to add in self-guilt, guilt, shame. The result of the disease is all the emotions that make humans suffer. Being human is to suffer, but it's not just to be here to suffer, it's to transcend suffering. And it's not just to gain knowledge and keep it in the mind and just be a master at one avenue. It's to gain some knowledge and master that knowledge in your body so it becomes wisdom. Sorry, that's our bit again. Shh. All humans are mentally sick with the same disease. We can even say that this world is a mental hospital. But this mental disease has been in this world for thousands of years. And the medical books, the psychiatric books, and the psychology books describe the disease as normal. They consider it normal. But I can tell you, It's not normal. When the fear becomes too great, the reasoning mind starts to fail and can no longer take all those wounds with all the poison. The new normal's weird. Try to keep it in, sorry. Don't apologise. Yep, no apologies. That's the new normal's weird. Unique or freak? A freak and unique. Live your weird normal. Don't go back to old patterns. They don't serve us very well. When the fear becomes too great, the reasoning mind starts to fail and can no longer take all those wounds with all the poison. In the psychology books, we call this mental illness. We call it schizophrenia, paranoia, psychosis. But these diseases are created when the reasoning mind is so frightened and the wounds so painful that it becomes better to break contact with the outside world. Humans live in continuous fear of being hurt, and this creates a big drama wherever we go. The way humans relate to each other is so emotionally painful that for no apparent reason, we get angry, jealous, envious, sad. To even say, I love you, becomes frightening and can be frightening. But even if it's painful and fearful to have an emotional interaction, still we keep going. We enter into a relationship, we get married and we have children. Yeah, that's why we were doing this, isn't it? We want to be a mum. And we don't want to pass our shit on to our kids, do we? Even if it is subconscious and unintentional. Because you are my subconscious, my beautiful alters. And you always knew. And I've been connected to you on a level that I haven't really known. I have known. Oh, it's so complicated. We're not getting there. Hurts the brain. Ah! In order to protect our emotional wounds, and because of our fear of being hurt, humans create something very sophisticated in the mind. And it's what we're a pro at. But we're getting past it now. So can you. A big denial system. In that denial system, we become the perfect liars. We lie so perfectly that we lie to ourselves. And we even believe our own lies. We don't notice we are lying. And sometimes even when we know we are lying, we justify the lie and excuse the lie to protect ourselves from the pain of our wounds. The denial system is like this is what us younger ones have been trying to tell people, but not in a great way. We hurt them accidentally. I'm so sorry. The denial system is like a wall of fog in front of our eyes that blinds us from seeing the truth. We wear a social mask because it's too painful to see ourselves or to let others see us as we really are. I'm not putting that back in because it means that our left conscious mind is open now to receive this more clearly, while our right mind's still distracted. And our right mind is the 95%, the more dominant, which is our subconscious, our body, our heart, the interrupting alters. So I'll keep them distracted. Well, my conscious mind hears the book more. It all means something. It all means something. It's just going to take me a while to get it out and put it down to paper because there's so much of it, really. And our main focus is getting balance in our self-care, getting balance in our house, and then getting off the benefit system, actually, and then to get this lot out there. This only comes secondary to all of that. So actually, I think that's fourthly, isn't it? Shh. But we need to do this because I know I need to know what this stuff is, don't I? Okay. And the denial system, okay, I'll start again. The denial system is like a wall of fog in front of our eyes, that veil that blinds us from seeing the truth. We wear a social mask because it's too painful to see ourselves or to let others see us as we really are. Don't care. And the denial system lets us pretend that everyone believes what we want them to believe about us. We put up these barriers for protection, to keep other people away, but those barriers also keep us inside, restricting our freedom. Humans cover themselves and protect themselves, and when someone says, "You are pushing my buttons," it is not exactly true. What is true is that you are touching a wound in his mind, and he reacts because he is hurt. I know we weren't pushing people. We were doing other things as well purposely, but we're not getting into that now, please. Please, can we just focus on the book? Thank you. I know we're having great insights and great awareness, but we can have them and take notes when we watch this back, okay? Well done. Thank you. When you are aware that everyone around you has emotional wounds with emotional poison, you can easily understand the relationship of humans in what the Toltecs call the dream of hell. From the Toltec perspective, everything we believe about ourselves and everything we know about our world is a dream. You look at any religious description of hell, it is the same as human society, the way we dream. Hell is a place of suffering, a place of fear, a place of war, violence, a place of judgment and no justice, a place of punishment that never ends. There are humans versus humans in a jungle of predators, humans full of judgment, full of blame, full of guilt, full of emotional poison. Envy, anger, hate, sadness, shame, guilt, suffering. We create all these little demons in our mind because we have learned to dream hell in our own life. Each of us creates a personal dream for our own self, but the humans before us created a big outside dream, the dream of human society. The outside dream, or the dream of the planet, is the collective dream of billions of dreamers. The big dream includes all the rules of society, its laws, its religions, its different cultures and ways to be. All of this information stored inside our mind is like 1,000 voices talking to us at once. Except we're deaf inside. So we don't get the voices. No, our body just acts it out and it's all just so real, isn't it? But that's the multiple personality disorder, the dissociative identity disorder, the extreme end of PTSD, complex PTSD, a genius coping mechanism of early childhood trauma. The Toltecs call this the mitote, the dream. The real us is pure love. We are life. The real us has nothing to do with the dream, but the mitote keeps us from seeing what we really are. When you see the dream from this perspective, and if you have the awareness of what you are, you see the nonsense behaviour of humans, and it becomes amusing, did you know? One must be able to have humour and laugh at themselves. Boy, do we need to do that. But mind you, some of them are fucking funny. What for everyone else is a big drama, for you becomes a comedy. You can see humans suffering over something that is not important, that is not even real. But we have no choice. We are born in this society. We grow up in this society. And we learn to be like everyone else, playing nonsense all the time, competing with mere nonsense. Imagine that you could visit a planet where everyone has a different kind of emotional mind. The way they relate to each other is always in happiness, always in love, always in peace, like little children. Now imagine that one day you awake on this planet and you no longer have the wounds in your emotional body. You are no longer afraid to be who you are. Whatever someone says about you, whatever they do, you don't take it personally. And it doesn't hurt anymore. You no longer need to protect yourself, my darling ones. You are not afraid to love, my dear ones. To share, to open your heart. But no one else is like you. How can you relate with people who are emotionally wounded and sick with fear? Buzz away with us, buzz away with us, buzz all that fear away from you, buzz away with us, join in, clap your hands, have a shake, buzz. Bit of Fibonacci pulse reset going on there, by the way, my darlings, if you want to know what that was. I thought it was the earring that came out as the headphones. No more headphones anymore. No more headphones anymore. Oh, bye-bye, 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 lower vibrational frequencies. Bye-bye, fear. Bye-bye, guilt. Bye-bye, shame. Bye-bye, sadness. Bye-bye. We are not afraid to love, to share, to open our heart. We are not afraid to love, to share, to open our heart. We are not afraid to love, to share, to open our heart. TRAEH space RUOY space NEPO space OT space comma ERAHS space OT space comma EVOL space OT space DIARFA space TON space ERA space UOY. Terea Roy Nepo Ot Erash Ot Evol Ot Diarfa Ton Era Uoi Terea Ro Nepo Ot Eras Ot Evol Ot Diarfa Ton Ro U. We are not afraid to love, to share, to open our heart. Great bit of reprogramming in there. Attitude of gratitude. Not feeling hopeful. Just hopeful. We know. So does that mean we're not hopeful? Because we know and it's just going to happen? I don't know. We don't need to know that. That's getting more into the understanding the words and the emotions more, and we're not ready for that. That's too complicated. Okay. Rewind, backtrack. But no one else is like you. How can you relate with people who are emotionally wounded and sick with fear? When a human is born, the emotional mind, the emotional body is completely healthy. Maybe around 3 or 4 years of age, the first wounds in the emotional body start to appear and get infected with emotional poison. But if you observe children who are 2 or 3 years old, if you see how they behave, they are playing all the time. You see them laughing all the time. Their imagination is so powerful, and the way they dream is an adventure of exploration. When something is wrong, they react and defend themselves. But then they just let go and turn their attention to the moment again, to play again, to explore and have fun again. They are living in the moment. They are not ashamed of the past. They're not worried about the future. Little children express what they feel, and they are not afraid to love. The happiest moments in our lives are when we are playing, just like children, when we are singing and dancing, when we are exploring and creating just for fun. It is wonderful when we behave like a child, because this is the normal human mind, the normal human tendency. As children, we are innocent, and it is natural for us to express love. But what has happened to us? What has happened to the whole world? What has happened is that when we are children, the adults already have that mental disease, and they are highly contagious. How do they pass this disease to us? They hook our attention, and they teach us to be like them. That is how we pass our disease to our children, and that is how our parents, our teachers, our older siblings, the whole society of sick people infected us with that disease. They hooked our attention and put information into our mind through repetition. This is the way we learned. This is the way we program a human mind. The problem is the program, the information we have stored in our mind. By hooking the attention, we teach children a language, how to read, how to behave, how to dream. We domesticate humans the same way we domesticate a dog or any other animal, with punishment and reward. This is perfectly normal. What we call education is nothing but domestication of the human being. We are afraid to be punished, but later we are also afraid of not getting the reward, of not being good enough for mom or dad, sibling or teacher. The need to be accepted is born, but we need to accept ourselves. Before that, we don't care whether we are accepted or not. People's opinions are not important. They are not important because we just want to play and we live in the present. Not the presents, the gifts, but the presence of awareness in the moment, without material things, things and the people, things and the people, things and the people. The fear of not getting the reward becomes the fear of rejection. The fear of not being good enough for someone else is what makes us try to change. What makes us create an image. Then we try to project that image according to what they want us to be, just to be accepted, just to have the reward. We learn to pretend, to be what we are not, and we practice trying to be someone else. Just to be good enough for mom, for dad, for the teacher, for our religion, for whatever. We practice and we master how to be what we are not. Soon, we forget who we really are, and we start to live our images. We create not just one image, but many different images, according to the different groups of people we associate with. We create an image at home, an image at school, and when we grow up, we create even more images. This is also true for a simple relationship between a man and a woman. The woman has an outer image that she tries to project to others, but when she is alone, she has another image of herself. The man also has an outer image and an inner image. By the time they are adults, the inner image and the outer image are so different that they hardly match anymore. And how that correlates into the physical body is you have your superficial exterior muscles, Your organs are your deep inner muscles. They're all muscles, but then you have your inner deep tissue muscles and then the muscles that connect the two. And that's your figure of 8 pattern that acts like a wave that goes back and to on itself. In the relationship between a man and a woman, there are 4 images at least. We'd like to say 8. Yes, shush though, please. How can they really know each other? They don't. They can only try to understand the image, but there are more images to consider. And how can you really know someone else if you don't know yourself? That's our bit. Shh. Ay, ay, ay. When a man meets a woman, he makes an image of her from his point of view, and the woman makes an image of the man from her point of view. Then he tries to make her fit the image he makes for her, and she tries to make him fit the image she makes for him. Now, there are 6 images between them. Of course, they are lying to each other, even if they don't know they are lying. Their relationship is based on fear. It is based on lies. It is not based on truth, because they cannot see through all that fog. In the period when we are little children, there is no conflict with the images we pretend to be. Our images are not really challenged until we begin to interact with the outside world and no longer have our parents' protection. This is why being a teenager is particularly difficult. Even if we are prepared to support and defend our images, as soon as we try to project our images to the outside world, the world fights back. The outside world starts proving to us, not just privately, but publicly, that we are not what we pretend to be. Let's take the example of a teenage boy who pretends to be very intelligent. He goes to a debate school, and in that debate, someone who is more intelligent and more prepared wins the debate and makes him look ridiculous in front of everyone. He will try to explain and excuse and justify his image in front of his peers. He will be so kind to everyone and will try to save his image in front of them. But he knows he is lying. Of course, he tries his best not to break in front of his peers. But as soon as he is alone and sees himself in a mirror, he goes and breaks the mirror. He hates himself. He feels that he is so stupid, that he is the worst. There is a big discrepancy between the inner image and the image he tries to project to the outside world. The bigger the discrepancy, the more difficult the adaptation to the society dream, and the less love he will have for himself. Between the image he pretends to be and the inner image when he is alone are lies and more lies. Both images are completely out of touch with reality. They are false, but he doesn't see that. Maybe someone else can see that, but he is completely blind. His denial system tries to protect the wounds, but the wounds are real, and he is hurting because he's trying so hard to defend an image. When we are children, we learn that everyone's opinions are important, and we rule our life according to those opinions. A simple opinion from someone can put us deeper into hell, and an opinion that's not even true. You look so ugly. You're wrong. You're stupid. Opinions have a lot of power over the nonsense behaviour of people who live in hell. That is why we need to hear that we are good, that we are doing well, that we are beautiful. I'm fucking fantastic, I am. I'm the best. And that's what we're programming into ourselves. Yeah, I know you're not impressed. You can just be quiet, can't you? How do I look? How was that? How was what I said? How am I doing? That's why we don't need validation from anyone anymore. No one's opinions and judgments will affect us anymore. We need to hear the opinions of others because we are domesticated and we can be manipulated by those opinions. That is why we seek recognition from other people. We need emotional support from other people. We need to be accepted by the outside dream via other people. That is why teenagers drink alcohol, take drugs, or start smoking. We used to smoke weed because it dumbed us down to society's level. And whenever we were working and we had our breaks just to prove to ourselves that we could just stop smoking weed, everyone would go, what are you on? What are you on? What are you on? It's like, it's what I'm not on, darlings. It's what I'm not on. So, yeah. It's not the people that are manic. It's you guys that are dumbed down by your self-denial lies. Come on, guys. Let's be better with our words. We weren't going to be all... Okay, sorry. Thank you. Let's just read the book, yeah? It's just a bit of home truths, and it's not anyone we're talking to in particular. It's not even anyone watching. And plus, we're doing this for ourselves, number one, which means we're saying it to ourselves for the ones in us that aren't believing it, that are still dumbing us down. Ah, very smart. The trickery of the subconscious mind to make the mind our slave, not our master. Boy, God, boy, the mind is beautiful. Wowzers. It is just to be, hold on, that is why teenagers drink alcohol, take drugs, or start smoking. It is just to be accepted by other people who have all those opinions. It is just to be considered cool. So many humans are suffering because of all the false images we try to project. Humans pretend to be something very important, but at the same time, we believe we're nothing. But do you know that nothing is no thing, which is everything? Because pure creativity, pure potential, comes from the void, pure darkness. That's why it's good that we're deaf, blind, and dumb inside, and that's why we're going to be amazing artists. Yes, we do need to hear that one, don't we? Because we've got major creativity block, but I know that's mostly due to our physical pain. But if this is helping us release our physical pain, and then we're watching this and it's connecting the dots in the head and connecting it to the body, utilising the breath and making us laugh at ourselves and get comfortable with ourselves, then we're going to be able to start creating the artwork that we want to do so soon. Oh my God, I love us, I love us, I love us. Thank you. Oh. We work so hard to be someone in society dream, to be recognised and approved by others. We try so hard to be important, to be a winner, to be powerful, to be rich, to be famous, to express our personal dream and to impose our dreams onto other people around us. Why? Because humans believe the dream is real and we take it very seriously. Amen. Namaste. Look, that's great. We love that. So you want to share your personal dream, don't you? I can feel it. And what's your personal dream? Well, our personal dream, because like with the young ones at 4, and that's where our ego got stunted. And we're all about empowerment and play. So we're just going to play and have fun now for the rest of our lives and live in the moment while we grow and connect. But we're also a double star. It's ironic that the in the tarot cards, it's a naked woman. We're all air, so it means we're double air. But luckily it's in house 6. So once we get on top of it, the daily routines in work and the house will be sussed. But she's the water carrier of emotions. Humanitarian aid worker. And we're a double Aquarius, because we're Aquarius in our sun and our moon. So we're Aquarius, a humanitarian aid worker, the other, because our Pisces, our mind, is in a house 7, which is the other. So it's always been about the other for us, because that's our gift. We can read the other, and we've read the other from a young age, and it's caused us pain. And we've had to step up, because we did Women Within. We did level 1 and level 2, and I can't remember where. I think it must have been 2013, 2014, maybe, or before. And I think it's Americans that call it a mission statement. But we came up with the mission statement to the best of our words at the time. And we knew we couldn't heal others. We didn't realise the extent we needed to heal ourselves, myself. But it is ourselves. It's me, myself, my many eyes and many lives in one life. But it was to facilitate and empower others. It wasn't to heal themselves, but it is to heal themselves now. But to empower themselves and heal themselves and love themselves and live their unique expression of them. But leading by example, because I don't want to be a leader. But I will only go to someone that walks their talk. And as soon as I feel they're not walking their talk anymore, and it is a feeling because it's the subconscious ones, the alters, younger ones that do it, we can't be with them in their company anymore. We need to have that harmonic resonance. So that is our dream. Our dream is the collective dream. And once we get our website together, I don't know how it's going to unfold, but this is part of it. And once this all comes together, our dream is Mother Gaia is waking up. And everything that we have done our whole life up until this present moment has been for the other. And even now, it's for the other. Because believe me, the physical pain has been so much that the conscious eye and the third of us alters that just don't want to ever would have killed ourselves a long time ago. But we could not put that pain onto our brother and our father or anyone else by killing ourselves. Because grief, and when someone dies, it's not about the other person. It's about our own attachments. And that's the next book that we're going to be starting by the same guy. Actually, no, it's by his son, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., The 5 Levels of Attachments. So everything that we feel, even the lower vibrational frequencies of emotions, is only because there's residing emotions in our subconscious mind, our body, our heart, be it from this current life that we're living, or as you guys like to call it, past lives. We don't like that terminology because time only exists in this 3-dimensional reality. There is no past, there is no future in the right hemisphere brain. So therefore, we're constantly living out multiple lives in one. So our personal dream is the collective dream of the planet, of Mother Gaia, because we feel her so strongly. And we are going to legally change our name. And we're going to let our past go because of the numerology and the frequency that's in the name. But our numerological number of our name, Neve Deborah Coleman, was number 8, infinity, balance, manifestation, leadership. Lots of things we thought we weren't, but we feel we are now. And we're leading by example, and we're going to show you how we can heal our body from the societal's perceived negative labels. But there's a positive to everything. And we're going to share all the positives to the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, the fibromyalgia, the autism, the dissociative identity disorder, the chronic fatigue syndrome. The list goes on. We've had it all. I don't know when that one's going to get read out. We're probably just going to do it live because one of the reasonings we gave ourselves for not continuing on with this because of the fear is sorry, I've just noticed that there's live chat and there's someone watching. No, sorry, I'm not taking questions because this is very challenging for me as it is, and it'd bring the conscious mind in too much, and I wouldn't be able to stay coherent or balanced. And you can see it already. But on our Shinto Self-Empowerment page, we're going to read out the first chapter of Earth. There's already an introduction on there because we want you to see where we've come from and where we're going to and the progress. So the chapter 1 we'll be reading out on that page will be the game, the codes, and the master numbers. It might be today, it might be over the weekend. I don't really know when it happens, but it's going to be happening sooner than later now that I've come to acceptance. And I'm coming to acceptance of Neve Deborah Coleman, host body, of DID, dissociative identity disorder, a genius coping mechanism of complex post-traumatic stress disorder, an early childhood genius, autism, high functioning, low functioning, many, we wish we were a fly on the wall to get other people's perspectives. We've got all of our own inside of us. And this is going to be the 5 levels attachment. This is going to be another great one for us to read. Because we want to become who we can be. And I want to be a mum. And I want to find my lover. But there's no rush, and we're going to keep doing what we need to do until that happens. Got our Reiki symbols there. We're going to burn this paper. The younger alters love doing all their moon manifestations, card reading, and they've got into their magic witch spells and stuff now while we read out our, the secret language of the body book. We don't read it out. They read stuff backwards and they scan it backwards really quickly, and then stuff comes out. It's the half of our body was backwards, you see. And if we didn't get something, it's like explain it to us backwards and we'll get it. And I had my one-on-one yoga because I was doing my a younger yoga teacher training. And she goes, "Oh, this is weird. When you do this happens. It's backwards." And I was so excited. It's like, yes, finally something in my body matches my brain, because I used to open my armpits. And you meant to open it vertically, but I'd open it horizontally because of my dyslexia, my processing language disorder. I got information mixed up, and then because of the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome in the body, it's a connective tissue disorder, which is like you take everything away in your body, you've still got your fascia, you've still got your connective tissue. It's a spider web, cling film web of, which is the highways that your electromagnetic current travels down. It's your energy system. And then you've got your electrochemical currents, electrochemical energy that travels through your circulatory system, your blood. And that's why your gut brain is more important, because you've got to have healthy guts, because it's your guts that produce the multi-diversity of bacteria, which is your prebiotics and your probiotics. So I think your probiotics is all your apathistophilosopher, and then your prebiotics is your fibres, like your psyllium husks and your fruits. And we've been megally working on the diet, and it's been immense. And then that sends the signals up to your brain to then what creates your emotions and your moods. It all makes sense, and this is going to be so good for me to watch back. I just looked at the time and it's 1:37:37. Double 3 and a double 37, so double 33 is communication, 77 is spirituality, and 1 new beginning. Shush, the numbers, we love the numbers. Got a magic number book coming soon, yay. I'm just going to finish this off though, because we're going to burn this. They made their magic spell, which God, they put in like, because we can't, our internal digestive, because the left vagus nerve is your rest and digest. And the vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. 10 is related to karmic completion. And it's, I guess it's the crown chakra. But you've got your right vagus nerve, which is your fight, flight, freeze, your adrenaline. Your left vagus nerve, which is your rest and digest. And they need to balance each other out. So from my understanding, when I'm trying to make sense of words and language and all these different people's perspectives and what they say, it's this Nassim Haramein, it's the Resonance Science Project, it's your yin and your yang. When he's got a beautiful, the whole universe, and he does the symbology where you've got the Kabbalah tree, the yin and the yang symbols, all these different symbologies, and it's just looking at it from a different perspective. And yes, we are one global planet and we need to be all one, but we need to keep our diversity of languages and cultures, because it's different perspectives, it's different avenues. And 2 + 2 is 4. 4 is the structure and the number from Mother Gaia, but you've got 3 + 1 is 4. You've got 2 times 2 is 4. You've got 8 - 4 is 4. There's so many different ways you can get to the number 4, but you're still getting to the number 4. And for us, that is what makes a good teacher. A good teacher isn't the amount of knowledge that they hold to regurgitate. Because if you have too much knowledge in one area, you're just going down one rabbit hole. And that's why actually the jack of all trades, master of none is the best survivor going. And I used to perceive that as a negative, but it's not. It's a massive positive. Because it meant, one thing I've not researched yet, but I will. My auntie passed over and she left me all her books, and they're all the mind books. And we've never got into the mind books. Thank you, my beautiful alters, because I would have lost my mind. But I've managed to keep my mind, because there's been a part of us that has loved ourselves and kept that, because the autism becomes rigid. but we've never kept ourselves rigid. We've always put ourselves in the face of adversity. We went to help out in a physically handicapped boys' orphanage when we were 16 in Romania. We deployed ourselves out to the Philippines when Typhoon Haiyan struck in 2014. We went travelling at the age of 22. It took us to move over the other side of the world to realise we could move and live and work outside of Cornwall. Not that we do, we stayed living and working in Cornwall. I thought I'd need a man to build my beautiful van, which I couldn't see, but it was gorgeous. But I didn't, I did it myself. I've done so many things. And always, you know, I did a bungee jump, the second man, I think it's the world's man-made largest, but the second highest in the world, because I was scared of heights. So I've always challenged the autistic one in me. And that's because of my bringing up, because of this was bad, or that was bad, or this was saw this way, or that was saw that way. And like I knew that if I shared certain things, that I probably would get put in a psych ward. So we've kept so much hidden out of our choice, out of fear, but it's been a good side of fear. But then there's the other parts of me that have been kept hidden my whole life. So I don't open up in physical form very easy. But I am healing myself physically, I'm healing myself mentally, and I'm healing myself emotionally, sexually, all of it. And we've been doing this since I first overdosed, and I'm lucky to be here. And that was the age of 18, 22 years ago, those numbers. 22, choose patience, a double dose of patience definitely needed, to add up to 4, perseverance, which is the age my mum committed suicide, or suspected. She was found washed up on a beach 3 days after she died, but I've read her diary last 4 months. And I feel she had a personality thing as well, and she found life very hard. I feel very connected to her, actually. I feel that we're soul sisters or something very similar with the way we've gone down life. But she continued to look outwards. But she was very misunderstood. I've been very misunderstood. She was 32 when she died. I've made 8 years past 32. And we're going to, yeah, the suicide stuff's gone. It's other stuff we're clearing through now. It's just we've done most of the hard work. It's just getting the body, the rewiring of the body and the fascia, and the breath, learning how to breathe. And inward sounding is very important. That really hurt. We've got to change our position. But we're just going to read. We can't change our position now, though, because like we're kind of half still in bed. So we're going to burn this later to go with half of our rich pulse potion stuff that they made on the Taurus new moon. Taurus is our not north node. You've got north and south nodes. It's the our one line. It's related to our Korean stuff anyway, which is good. But it's because it's all grounding and self-nurturing and not about action, just about planning. And we do our plan. This is what we're doing a Soul Shine 44-day meditation, which is our support at the moment, an online group. And we did start the 7-day Spirit Mysteries transformation, but we need to do it in 7 weeks, and it's the second time we've started it. But we've produced this, which we wrote up, which we listen to the meditations, and we read that out every day. But we've got lots more to add to it. We're going to finish that off today and write it out on one of our big pads, and then we're going to burn this, and we just want to read out all the words, because we're creating our dream. We're creating the person that we want to be, the collective us. And we're doing it as Neve Deborah Coleman, and I'm accepting of Neve Deborah Coleman with all the society's labels, because I can see the positives in them and the gifts in them. And I have to do this as Neve, because we did change our name to Zanoni, and you start using it, and we were going to keep it secret, but it's not about that anymore. They're all the things. It's constant transformation, constant readjusting. So yeah, our name will get changed to Zanoni Snowflake Purcell. So Purcell is my mum's maiden name. Snowflake's my Native American Indian name, which was given to me when I was 2, when my mum took me out there. My mum was called Whispering Reed Woman, and my dad's called Grey Owl. So we've got the shamanic earthly groundingness in us and that generational thing. So you're going on to Bruce Lipton now, epigenetics. So Bruce Lipton epigenetics is, it's about nature or nurture. But, your nature is your genes. Epi means above. So epigenetics is above your genes. And it's in us, but whether the stuff gets turned on your genes or not depends how you live your life, depends what you put yourself around, your environment. And it can go down 3 generations. So I am doing this for me to heal, because I don't want any more pain physically mainly because I can't handle the physical pain. I used to do nature and I used to do diet and all kinds of things to manage the emotional and the mental pain. But when you have your body taken away from you, well, well, you can see the reaction my breath had then. Because our words lie. Because we lie to ourselves. Our emotions and our feelings lie too, because eventually, if it happens long enough, your words get held in your body. Your emotions get held in your body, and that is the psychosomatic effect in your body. So it's not all in your mind. If anyone's telling you it's all in your mind, don't believe them. It's in your body. So your words can lie, your feelings can lie, your body can lie. When the seizures happened, my hand would write backwards. My left hand would write backwards, and I'm right-handed. I'd want to walk forwards, and it'd take me an hour to walk a step forwards because my body was walking backwards. So your body lies. And I remember it always like the question that I could get down to, that the simple form which no one could answer, because everyone's like, oh, don't do that, or don't do that. Oh yeah, if you do that, that happens. If you do that, that happens. But no one tells you how to not do that. No one will give you the how-to or the step-by-step of not to do that. And it was like, how do you breathe properly? How do you breathe properly? And people all have all these different things of breathing, which are really good. But again, it's fitting a pattern, something you have to remember, something you have to do this. We have to learn to experiment within ourselves and trust what our body is telling us. Religion is someone else's experience. Gain information, read it, but know that that is someone else's experience, and to listen to it and have it there, but to trust yourself and to trust your heart, to live your own experience. And that is spirituality. Living your own experience, being in harmony with your mind, your left hemisphere, your right hemisphere, your crocodile brain, your heart, your body, but your breath, because your breath is what joins the two, and the cosmos, and the earth. So we're creating our dream. We're learning how to breathe properly, and we're going to share the basics of stuff with patterning. But our main thing, when we get there eventually, is that it'll be the contract, which we still haven't been able to do ourselves first, but we'll get the self-contract written out to ourselves. So that will be the first part of it. And then there'll be in loving ourselves, Shinto self-empowerment, course 1 and course 2. Course 3 you'll end up having to pay for, because 3 is the first number on the vortex maths. It's about being poor, it's creativity. You're linked into the circular system thinking world, the spiritual world, not the linear world of time and space. And that needs to be paid for, because you need to pay for it yourself to give yourself the action and say, right, I'm worth it, I'm worth this. But I want as much to be possible as free, because it's important to have stuff for free. Because we don't have money. I spent so much money on myself still, because I needed to do the therapy to get off the pain, and I was doing my sound healing teaching course. I was doing my Iyengar yoga course, one of the hardest in the world. I just started, still doing them, and I started college doing a complementary therapies course of reflexology, Swedish massage, and aromatherapy. I was a bookkeeper, an accountant, and a therapist doing nerve touch, Thai massage, and Reiki, because I'm a Reiki master. I don't know how I did it. Well, I do now. I had the idea, was doing it, but no wonder I broke. And I was living in my beautiful van with my black cat Dakota, of which he took on the energies and died young. But he was my unconditional love. He taught me unconditional love. He was my everything. And he needed to be taken away. I needed to have my everything taken away to catalyze the process of grief. And that was this time 4 years ago. So yeah, it's been a 22-year healing journey of first bit of awareness in the conscious mind. 28 when I started yoga, so I started in the body, for the subconscious mind body. 30 when I started my yoga teacher training. So that would be because I know that the best teacher is someone that learns from their students. So I needed to become my own student and teacher. So I told myself right at the start I wouldn't pass, and I didn't pass. Everyone thought I'd pass the teaching bit and not the personal practice. But for me, I'd always said, because this is my psychicness, my intuition, just like I never knew I'd have Dakota forever, and he was never mine. Whereas Zendaya, my cat now, he's my boy. Whereas Dakota was never my boy. He chose to stay with me in my van, would leave in places, and he'd wait for me. He was amazing. yeah, I'm sidetracking, but I've been needing to give information out there because I suppose I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep healing and having fun and playing amidst all the pain and the trauma and the rest of it that needs to be released. And I'm putting it out there now to the universe to let the rest of the synchronicities and signs invite people see it, and it all just happen and unfold as it's meant to. And so, along with this that will burn and this, to go about little magic spell potions, which we bathed in water. Water's so important. We put the tuning forks in the water and frequency that up with all the, and then we put like your kefir goat's milk or whatever else in it basically as well, because you absorb at least 60% or something through your skin. So if your guts aren't working properly, it's good to get the stuff through the skin. So the first poem we wrote after a few months after the seizures, end of October 2016, which lo and behold happened the day after a new moon. We shaved our head because our hair got all matted up into a bun knot, and then we couldn't lift our arms up above our heads because of the EDS. So we had to shave our head. And I remember, didn't like short hair. Loved my long, beautiful curly hair. But I remember someone shaving their head once, and I was like, God, I could never do that. And it's like, right, I'm going to gain some courage and I'm going to bit my head rather than it go short. And that's when we look like your Eastern Western Buddha yogi. We've got a shaved head. And then I think since then, we've had dread extensions. So we had long dreads, and then we've shaved it again. Oh, they hacked the dreads off. I lost a day before getting sectioned in the psych ward. And they hacked the dreads off. We'd even cooked ourselves good food, but we couldn't physically eat. And I had in all my meditations, because I started meditating on the subconscious mind and opening up my 1111 portal. And then on the 10th of January, I worked on my conscious mind, the external reality, by joining my online sound meditation group, who the sound practitioners I used to come to me, because we didn't have the confidence to do stuff online because we didn't know who to trust, whereas we'd experienced them in the physical form. So it was okay. And I had said, well, I'd programmed my body, first of all, not to have any outer body experiences, because I knew this physical vessel couldn't handle coming back in. And I had also then surrendered to whatever needed to be for everyone's highest good, because since being retuned to my Reiki masters, it's always been for everyone's highest good. And it's always been for everyone's highest good before that, but not maybe in my conscious awareness. And I didn't know my needs or what to help. So we had no human contact anymore. We were seeing one human a week for a couple of hours. We had no self-belief because of our experiences. And as Bruce Lipton says, it's all about your belief systems, your deepest belief systems and your programming. So if your internal deepest belief systems is no self-worth, no self-esteem, no self-love, and you've got no humans around you anymore to give you any of that, because you can see you're hurting them and you can't hurt them anymore. And I know that if I flip too much into a really dark altar, I'll turn into my abuser, because I've been sexually abused as a young child as well. And I couldn't put that on anyone. But I also knew I'd witnessed myself and stopped myself overdosing on the medication and the pills again that they'd given me. And I couldn't do that to myself either, because I want to live. So there was no one. So what happened? I started dying over and over. My autonomic nervous system started giving up. Boy, oh, I tell you what, it fucking feels fantastic. That state of euphoria that you get in before you die. And it's the DMT. DMT is released when you're born and when you die. So it's a DMT hit, but it's a DMT hit like not what anyone's described to me, because I'm internally deaf, blind and dumb. I don't perceive things however people perceive them. The messages can't come through to me how they come through to other people. And so my alternate personalities, because I'd surrendered to whatever, made me lose co-consciousness, which I spent the last 3.5 years pretty much gaining co-consciousness. So I knew where I was at and what I was doing, so that my alter personalities would let me sit on the fence. But if I used the wrong language or the wrong wording or did the wrong thing, boy, I was locked out, memory blanks again, blackouts. So I became good at it. But yeah, I lost a day because I thought I got sectioned on Tuesday morning, but it was a Wednesday morning I got sectioned. because I was in communication with someone, an old Kiwi friend, who we weren't that great of friends, I don't remember to be, but I was reading out the Urban Shaman book to him. It's really good. And then I didn't leave my house naked. I left it in my dressing gown as well, with one of my first loves books. Very fitting title. All his titles are very fitting, actually. But it was On the Edge, with my crystals, one of my wind chimes, like 40 quid each, those wind chimes. And they dumped them around, or so I don't know, some kind of treasure hunt. But as I left my house, got out my back face against and got down to the road, the younger alters had created a story because we needed help. But I couldn't ask for help. I didn't know what it was, but they knew what it was. And I know now what it is. We needed some respite. We needed to be away from the distractions of our house so that we could connect into ourselves and not have constant distractions going on. And we needed to be cooked for, and we needed to be cleaned for, because we physically couldn't do it. And we needed to have it done by safe people that wouldn't mirror our stuff, that knew that something was going on. But even the people that witnessed these seizures that were like I was taken over by a poltergeist, they were intense. Even they couldn't do it and that's okay. But they had stuff that they needed to sort out in themselves. So yeah, we got outside to the lane, and my younger alters, who were still massively we split up. This is my longest relationship, 16 to 18. I think I've done like a few 4-month relationships since then. Because we won't settle in something either, because that makes us feel even worse. But they created a story that he had bought the van that I'd built because I had to sell it at uni, and it's parked up down the end of the lane. And I think when I was like with him, I drove from Falmouth to Truro just in my suede jacket, so I was naked underneath. So obviously we had the dressing gown on. We got out there. We had his book and a Native American wisdom book and crystals and the Toshi chimes. So that's the story that they created. And when we got down there, obviously the van wasn't there. So that would have shifted us into another state of consciousness. We used to sleep talk and sleepwalk when we were younger. So our eyes were open, but we were asleep, or in that, that state of consciousness when you're asleep, because we kept dying over and over in the bath. You'd die and it felt amazing, but then you get jolted out of it because, would have died in the bath and everyone would have thought I'd just killed myself. That wouldn't be very good. Wouldn't have served my purpose. And this is my purpose, to share vulnerability with courage and strength of all my diversities, of what's perceived negative qualities, but there's the goodness and the positives in all of them, and they've taught me and they've helped me. I understanding my body and the energy, because I feel the energy, not the physical body, because of the EDS. So they took off the dressing gown, I was naked, and that's when we got to the van. I only know this because I found about a month after being out of the psych ward, I found my dressing gown and the 2 books tucked down in behind the fence. Never found my Koshi chime, never found all my crystals. But that's the whole people and the things, things and the people. So yeah, it's about letting stuff go. And I obviously then, because I'm stuck in this circular, in the spiritual world, this state between consciousness, I couldn't find my way home. I mean, it's just a straight line. Well, exactly, it's just a straight line. And I was in circular system thinking, well, right hemisphere brain, not left hemisphere brain, linear system thinking. But I remember we obviously tried to get down somewhere else, and we were like going in people's gardens, looking for keys underneath things. I don't goodness knows where we thought we were. And then we went back out, and obviously we could get down to a friend's that used to have parties, and he had nature and stuff. So we follow the white line down the centre of the road. So this is the detective in us. So we can't do linear system thinking, but we've obviously been in a lot of altered states of consciousness when we've been on drugs or when we've been drunk, and we've been able to find us that ways to certain places and certain people. So would it be that's so interesting. I can't wait to watch this back. It's amazing how it starts coming back more. You repeat it and bring it out. So we're obviously walking down the white line in the centre of the road. But then there was a jogger. So that would have flipped us again into another state of consciousness. And there were like 4 or 5 people's houses that we're trying to get to. And like literally one of them that we know was just on the road. It was just there, but we went past it and were admiring a "Hus" for sale sign. I think we're using the H, the U, the S to sound on. Maybe to ground ourselves and bring ourselves back, I'm guessing, because that's what we use it for. And yeah, so we then went round, obviously naked, whatever. I remember we were then talking to some guy that's driving off to work. We probably asked if we could go and sleep in his house. We just wanted to sleep somewhere until we got home. But in the past, we'd just sleep in a fucking bush. So why didn't we just sleep in a bush? I know why we didn't just sleep in a bush. We didn't just sleep in a bush because we needed to be sectioned and we needed to go through the experience we went through because we need to wake society up. Mental health precedes, proceeds. It's the one that comes before, basically. It's more important than physical health. It's all mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual ailments that finally manifest in the physical. The physical is the very last, lower, dense realm of matter. And having worked for mental health and having restrained an autistic person when I know I shouldn't, and that's when I had to get out, and now me being on the other side, because I got taken by, and there's the moments I knocked on an old lady's house and I knew she'd be scared. So I picked some flowers from a pot, I remember this, to give to her to make her not be so scared and see if she'd let me sleep on her floor. And so I just needed to sleep somewhere, and then I could find my way home. And then I knocked on number 22, some guy's house, and went in and was on his couch. Poor guy, some naked woman coming in on his couch, you know. Lucky I'm in an old retirement home. When it's not lucky, because I mean, some other one could have taken advantage of the situation, but they wouldn't have won because then my abusive alter would have come out, and I know that I could probably kill someone. I've seen that come out before. And he wouldn't even let me sleep in his porch with his shoes, bless him. And then I came out of that house, I remember. I thought I threw the temper tantrum outside his, but I know that I threw a little temper tantrum and I flung some things that were hanging on a tree on the floor, and that wasn't outside his because when I went back and tried to retrace the route, there wasn't any trees outside his, so I haven't found that house yet where that was. There was a lady that I thought was wearing my dressing gown. I asked her for the dressing gown, but she wouldn't give it to me. And it turned out we were 2 houses up from our first love's mum's house that we were obviously trying to get into, and that's then when the police had been called. And there's so I'm there, and I'm obviously not quite right, and I'm naked. But in between all this chaos, there is a conscious eye coming out asking him to take off his police vest because there's so much stuff on it and it's bombarding our autistic brain and we can't cope. But anyway, they put me in the police van, they took me away and they gave me more drugs, medication. And so I lost another 4 days. And I have lived in these altered states of consciousness with all my alternate personalities my whole life, and I've traveled the world and I've lived on my own. So I am someone that survives. I go into my fight, flight, freeze, and I survive. And the majority of the time, it's in an environment where I'm conscious. And when I'm in a conscious mind, my body freezes. And I've been, had lots of horrible sexual experiences because of that as well, where I've been there, been like, oh, can't they tell I don't want to be here doing this right now? Blah, blah, blah. But of course, I know certain men think that if a woman gets wet, then she wants to have sex. And that's bollocks. Just because the body says one thing doesn't mean that that's the case. It's ignorant and it's naive. And we need to get that out of the way for starters. And then, I'd say no 3 times, and 3-time rule was it. And it's not just that I lied there. I now know my body would be paralyzed and I physically couldn't move. There's been lots of sexual experiences in my life that I haven't wanted to have, that I've had that I remember. Half the people I've slept with I don't even remember. And this all comes from the child sexual abuse thing as well, early childhood sexual abuse. So I understand so much, and it is really lovely to hear my voice, pretty calm, pretty balanced, coming out with such clarity. Because I lost another 4 days when I actually came round in the psych ward because they sedated me. And it was the medication that gave me an allergic reaction. And I came round to 8 people holding me down. I've not eaten properly for 8 days. I'm not, massive. I'd had put on 6 stone with the medication, but I lost it all. So I'm only 11 stone or something. Not massive. I'd probably less then actually, because when I looked in the mirror, when I came round after this scenario, in the psych ward, I never felt more connected. And I looked in the mirror and it was so sad. I was gone. I was all jolted and dislocated and I looked so ill and bulimic and anorexic. It was unreal. It was a horrible sight. But at least I was seeing an honest reflection of myself for the first time. Yeah, 8 people holding you down, telling you to relax. There's me locked inside. Get off, for fuck's sake. It's your autonomic nervous system. Fight, flight, freeze. I can't relax. And I think I managed to get out. Please just stand 3 foot back. I don't know if I managed to get out because 3 feet is your physical aura. So if you are with someone and you're really start doing that, pointing their energy away is really good. If you're really feeling their energy, then step 3 feet away back from them. Make your hands do this. Put your hand on your heart or your belly, because I try to bring humour into the situation, but I'm a little kid. I'm like 4, 5 or 6, I don't do or whatever. So I'm sticking my tongue in the care worker's ear. That's not going down too well. So then I resorted just having my hand on my heart and just staring people in their eyes and just giving them all my heart, going, look, this isn't right. You shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. I'm locked inside. I'm here. And it worked with a few of them. But the system's so wrong. I mean, one of our things, people and things, is we gave a massive bag with our dressing gown, our slippers, our essential oils, our crystals, another Cossi chime, tuning forks, so much stuff, lots of chocolate, crisps and biscuits. Because that was another method for the younger ones using, like, people and the things, we need to be able to show that we can do this without our tools and that we can do it ourselves, and then they'll let us out quicker. They were trying every avenue to get us to let us out, that we didn't belong in there. They really hated being in there. Because we're feeling all the crazy people's energy, and they're only going more and more crazy because of what we're doing to them. So they get locked more inside in their own world. And when you're someone that's completely open and you're taking that on board, it's not healthy. But yeah, I gave that to one of the night shift people in the early hours of the morning, and it went missing. Which means there's people, you can't have a big brown bag go missing with its slippers on the side and a dressing gown on top. So that means that maybe got stolen. We shouldn't make assumptions, one of the 4 agreements. But we see it as someone that obviously needed that stuff more for whatever reason. And stuff comes and goes. But our want to express that is that there are still people in these places that are taking advantage of vulnerable people. The other thing, which is why I restrained the person that was autistic when I worked in that company, was because I knew I had to, because I knew that routine, consistency and structure were more important than my own personal belief systems. But then I left the company. But that wasn't in there either. So yeah, 8 people holding you down and all this stuff. And then they wanted me to take more medication. I had like 2 professionals, the care worker, and 2 trainees, along with my brother and my friend. So that's 7 people I had in the room on top of me. And I now know, I just want one of you, please, because then I don't have to deal with all their energies, because I really feel the energy. And they wanted me to take more medication. You had the blooming psychiatric woman going on about weed and this, that, and the other, because the police raided my house, took all my weed, but that was what was keeping me balanced and grounded. But I did need it gone. I needed my lungs back. And we had the lungs tuning fork because I needed to breathe properly. So I did need to stop smoking. And we had already done a subconscious alter thing where I'd chosen my vaporizer over the tobacco. So I was already stopping smoking. But I use CBD oil now instead of the weed. And I know that that's my path, because not everyone smokes weed. Not everyone wants to vaporize. Not everyone wants to pipe. And weed is really healing. And we grew it all ourselves. So it's not like I had anyone's energy. And she's telling me all this stuff about it. It's like, you don't have a clue, woman. You probably take medication. Like, weed's my medication. But yeah, CBD oil, food, my sounding, everything natural now has been my medication. So yeah, and they started the SoundCloud page of the out loud reading in there. We ate the food. We ate like there was no tomorrow. We pretty much stayed in our room. We would do out loud reading and a bit of yoga out in the main area. But I could feel the energies of the others getting too much. But when we were reading books, it's all about self-empowerment and changing yourself. So they'd love the energy and they'd come in and sit close. And then you see me starting to spastic and twitch. And I'd read louder. And as soon as it got to certain places in the book about taking your own empowerment back, they'd suddenly disappear off again, because obviously it was speaking to their subconscious. And, they've got into pattern of being looked after and cared for. And it's easy almost when you get to a certain state to have that happen, because the autistic one that gets locked inside, I remember him thinking, I may as well just stay like this, it's easier. And I was like, no, I don't want to stay locked inside. I'm a traveller. I like my freedom. I've lived in a van. So yeah, anyway, we did well. They just take more medication. So it's kind of like, I had to think, even my brother, but his wife takes medication. I shouldn't say stuff like this, but no one knows who I am, as they do. No. I don't know that for a fact. I don't need to figure out how to edit this. Fuck it. But it's people's belief systems, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. Everyone's different, and what works for you, and that's okay. And that's what I'm trying to say. but I didn't need it. It made me have seizures. My brother and my friend had seen this and they knew this, and they still made me take medication as well. And that's okay, because that's their belief systems and stuff. And I figured out a way out of it, and everything's happened for a reason. So there's no blame there. There is emotion in it and there is passion in it, because there's still hurt and there's still pain, but that is mine to work through. I knew about the half-lives of medications. I knew not to put medication on top of the other because they've got all the clinical trials. But there's no baseline. Everyone's own biochemistry has a different baseline. So you can't do clinical trials that are accurate when everyone starts off from a different starting point. And then I was on 5 or 6 different medications back when I had the seizures. So that's just a whole complete So yeah, I've made sure that they had to have short half-lives, none would overlap. I'd have one at lunchtime and have one in the evening to help me get to sleep. And the evening one was more of an antihistamine anyway, which I'd taken before myself to sleep. And then I had to figure out, okay, then it was like, well, okay, an EDS person uses up 4 times the amount of energy as other people. We're hypersensitive. What's the average amount you'd give to someone? The minimum, what's the minimum amount you'd give to someone? Divide that by 4, and then I'll have that. The communication in the place was wrong. By the time it came, and I needed to show them that if I took the medication, it would flip me out again, which it did. So I could show them what I was saying was true, and that I am actually in my right state of mind here, and I am just self-healing, and this is part of the healing process. If you go to any shaman of any tribe, that's all it is: spiritual awakening, a spiritual emergency. But this is physical. Mine wasn't mental. The mental was triggered from the physical reactions I was having from the EDS and the medication. But none of them, everyone was putting it down to emotional and mental. So I took the medication. Then in the evening, the guy goes to give me 2. And I'm like, no, it's meant to be just 1. We agreed on this. And he goes, well, which one? And it's like, hold on, you're the one that's meant to have written down everything that I said to you earlier. I've had medication since then. I'm not in my quite right mind, as I've just like come through before. And he gave me one. I think he gave me the blue one. I think he gave me the one that wasn't antihistamine, which is probably why I flipped out more. But anyway, I realized, I thought first of all I had to get back to my home environment, the familiarity, my cat, because it was Bruce Lipton in the environment. But after that experience, I realized that actually I'm the best survivor going. It gave me self-belief, and I realized what I had to do was stand strong in my truth and my knowledge and my knowing of who I am, who we are, and not take any more medication, and show them that I could get out there and do it my way. And I did, and it took me 2 weeks to get out. I was the sanest, most self-accountable, self-responsible, self-healing, rational person in there. I'm the only one even sectioned, and I got myself out in 2 weeks. So yeah, there's a good story, or there's a good something in this. I don't know how it's going to unfold, but it will unfold. And somehow, along with, because the coronavirus started when I was in there as well, so along with Mother Gaia and the collective energies and however all this works, something's going to happen, and I will be seen and I will be heard, even if it's unfearful, even if it's uncomfortable, and I will be strong and courageous with it to show that vulnerability is not a weakness unless you go into your victim. And we're going to start changing systems. The new norm is weird, and to be unique and be different. And so the first poem I wrote was a few months after the seizures. Didn't expect all that sidetrack. And then we read it out again. So rather than who am I, it was who are we? And that was a couple of months ago. It was after the psych ward. And we haven't started it yet. But the next poem is going to be who we are. And host body Neve Coleman and the conscious eyes are going to be very accepting of all our alternate personalities. And we're going to finish this chapter, and then we will change our name to Zanoni Snowflake Purcell, with acceptance and gratitude and forgiveness and compassion. But this is part of our manifestations that we're going to put in, and it's just lots of words, and it might not make sense, but I'm putting it out there. Who we are: different, rare, proud, earth, air, fire, water, space, because you need the space to fit everything else in. Endless and limitless, unlimited. A balanced, harmonic, strong, flexible, still, calm, tall, aware, present, soulful, spiritual, conscious. Moon, child of Gaia, child of the cosmos, child of the stars, sun and moon. Sun and moon, Aquarius, a double star. Breathing, silent, loud, knowing, passionate, loving, forgiving, energetic, creative and expressive through all our bodies, grateful, compassionate, authentic, transparent, with integrity, thinking, singing, speaking, feeling, self-empowered, sensitive, highly intuitive through all senses, unseen and seen, grounded, stable, trusting, simple, playful, fun, fulfilled, humorous, physical, emotional, rainbow field. Oh, that's it. Healthy and sound in all our bodies, way out in our emotional, physical, all of it, rainbow field, psychological, energetic being, joyful, happy, content, loved, admired, inspired, inspiring, leader by example, walking our talk, speaking always from all of our bodies with all of our above and clarity, the high priestess from the tarot deck, the sun, the moon, the double star, healthy boundaries and needs for each moment and each of you, fearless, practical, confident, enlightened, for each of us, vulnerable and with courage and strength and softness and gentleness, nurturing, laughing, humorous, giving, equal, psychic, gifted, magician, fool, alchemist, empress, receptive, abundant, wealthy, rich, truthful, magical, nature-loving, musically diverse, mother, wife and lover of the same person, quick and slow with, I don't know, witty, fair, cunning, free, being, purposeful, uniqueness, transformative, individual, everything, no thing, everyone, no one, wild. So yeah, that's who we are, and that will probably all get put into a poem soon. But yeah, namaste. We would love it, the younger ones would love it if you could share, like, love, support, subscribe. Let's get a beautiful collective dream out there. Let's actually get the dream of heaven on earth rather than hell on earth. Because when we live from love and we have a vibrational frequency of a bubble of love around us, the highest of high vibrational frequencies, the lower vibrations literally cannot reside in such a high frequency. So we don't need the protection. Namaste. Happy Global Love Day today, 1st May 2020.